Good evening, everyone. Today is August 15th, 2016, and welcome back to Veterans Voices, a monthly talk show focusing on veterans issues, your issues. I'm Nathan Johnson, the Contra Costa County Veteran Service Officer, and I'm joined again by my co-host, Gold Star father, Calvet Link, Kevin Graves.
Tonight's show is called Challenge, Live, and Give, a special tribute to upcoming veterans events. Events that challenge veterans both physically and emotionally. Events that let veterans give back to other veterans and help them regain their sense of serving others. And we'll even discuss events that are just plain fun and make veterans feel alive.
If you participate in a veterans event, if you do something that's challenging and you'd like to share it, we want you to call in tonight. If you have any questions on the events discussed tonight, reach out to us by phone, email, anonymous chat, any way you can get a hold of us. Come on down to the studio, send a message through our social media, whatever way you can do, reach out. We'd love to hear from you anytime during tonight's show. It's a live 1-hour show. Call in, be the first one. Another thing we need from our veteran viewers are their shadow boxes. Every show we place a new shadow box on the set, but tonight we have an empty spot. We need you to participate. Reach out to our producers if you have any memorabilia that you'd like to loan to us for future shows. We'll take good care of it. We'll give it back, we promise.
Thanks, Nathan. Our first guests tonight are organizing two very meaningful upcoming veterans events, Take the Rock and California Run for the Fallen. So welcome to the show, Mike, Terry, and James.
Thank you.
How you guys doing tonight?
I'm good.
Good, good, good. So, Terry, you're a participant in Take the Rock. Tell us what that means.
I'm a participant, and I'm also a volunteer coach this
Okay.
year. So being a participant for the second year in a row means a lot to me. I enjoy the camaraderie of being with other veterans that are up for taking a challenge.
You're a Coast Guard vet, right?
That's correct. And I miss being pushed off of boats.
I was going to ask if
into
there was
heavy,
a correlation there.
into heavy seas. I miss that.
God.
And Mike, your involvement with Take the Rock.
Yes, I've been involved. This will be the 4th year. And so it's just been exciting to see the whole swim grow in numbers and participation and excitement. And it's something that's important to me because it got me into swimming, open water swimming, and into triathlon. So I've enjoyed seeing people who thought there was no way they could do something like that, just get in there and flourish and do well and then be pumped up to take on another challenge afterwards.
Perfect.
Very good.
Yeah.
James, you're involved in another event that I'm very familiar with, which is California Run for the Fallen, which is challenging in other ways. You're both a organizer and a participant in that event. So share with us a little bit about California Run for the Fallen.
Yeah, the California Run for the Fallen, it's a 3-day, 3-part event, and it's very physically, mentally, emotionally challenging. Basically, we run 150 miles, and for every mile that we run, we post 4 flags for the fallen. And so we end up posting 600 flags over 150 miles. And so it's pretty amazing to see the families along the route and to push yourself to run the distance.
And those flags represent our fallen of the state of California.
That's correct. They're California service members who have fallen post 9/11.
Right, and this is something that California started after other states had already started this tradition, and I believe Travis Air Force Base had a, I don't know what rank she was, a lieutenant colonel at the time?
Lieutenant Colonel.
Who had been part of this in another state, and she brought it to California, and I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Elizabeth Clay and her husband. What's his first name?
Chris.
Chris Clay, I'm sorry. Christopher, if you're watching, I apologize. Who brought it to us, and it's been a wonderful event to be a part of, but physically challenging for all the participants. How many runners do you usually get to volunteer for the?
We usually have about 50 runners, active duty, retired veterans who participate in the actual route, and they run for a 6-mile segment. So.
And that's done over a 2-day period. You cover 150 miles and honor well over 750 fallen heroes in the state of California.
That's
it's
correct.
an amazing, amazing feat, and very meaningful to people such as myself. That's how I got involved with you, was when all of a sudden I heard that Joy was being represented somewhere near where we live, and the meaningful part, I think, is that sometimes for some of those heroes, it's the only time that their name is called out in honor and their bio is read, just because they're not involved in any other things. And it's extremely meaningful for the families that show up there too. So as a Gold Star parent, I want to thank you for what you've done to make that. And I've talked to you guys at the end when you've achieved that challenge and that emotional that we have with the closing ceremonies. And it's a very meaningful event for all of us that are involved. How many vets do you expect to be involved with Take the Rock this year, Mike?
This year, I think we're going to top out between 50 and 60, hopefully, which has grown. The first year we had 20, next year 32, last year I think we had 40. So it's continuing to, I think word of mouth has been successful and people are talking about how much fun they had.
Terry, what's it feel like when you finally are able to pull yourself out of the water there at the at the San Francisco Yacht Club? Is that where you end up, or where you guys? Aquatic Club?
Yeah, just on the beach, Aquatic Park Beach.
What's it feel like when you drag yourself out of the water there?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It does. It does. Exhausting. Kind of almost a letdown too at the same time, but it's a rush.
So the first well, you had done this previously as part of another group, so you had kind of trained for it. What's it like training new veterans that haven't done it before, that don't know what to expect? Is there a process that they have to go through, or a qualification or anything like that?
Well, generally, I check the level of the swimmer, you know, where they're at and if they're comfortable getting into the ocean. And if they are, we start out at the buoy line and just go from there. And what I get out of it mostly is the kind of aha look that I see on veterans' faces when they get it. You know, swimming in cold, salty water with sharks, you know.
So there are sharks.
Maybe. There was one last year.
I can neither confirm or deny that, Senator.
I haven't personally seen any.
I hear they're in the ocean, though.
Yeah, they're out there somewhere. This is a very well-calculated, thought-out, safe event, and but oftentimes, I mean, I really want to talk about challenge. I want to talk about, you know, the military being a challenge, and we all can remember the times in the military where we really felt that challenge, whether it be physical or mental or emotional challenge, or a combination of all the three. And how important is it for someone when they leave the military to connect with something like Take the Rock or Run for the Fallen?
I'm of the belief that you're either growing or stagnating, and that just because you've gotten out and you're no longer active duty or reserve, that you can still grow, and there's still a lot of things to be accomplished. And the importance of it too is not only doing a physical challenge, but we got a lot of vets who isolate. And so the coolest thing I've seen, besides people have that empowerment and motivation and completing that physical challenge, is finding new friends, finding a new group of people to hang around, and a cool, safe environment, and with a lot of support.
And it develops a whole new sense of camaraderie with a whole different group of people. I think you guys find that up at Travis too. Travis seems to be is a sponsoring organization for the Run for the Fallen, and it becomes a close-knit community of the people that participate and can share that. And I imagine going forward, as you move through your career, it's something you look back on and really feel an accomplishment.
Yeah, that's correct.
I did the swim in 2012? 2012?
2013.
2013.
First year, yeah.
And yeah, it's been 3 years since I did it. And I look back and reflect on it a lot. And I feel proud when I get to share with other people that I did. I've only done it once. These guys have done it 2 or 3 times.
So you can do it with floaties on then, I guess, huh?
But I want to say about it though, is like you mentioned, you know, that you get to connect with new people, and it's the military challenge is so much a collective challenge as well, right? You're working towards something together, and that's what allowed me to do the swim in 2013. Is I knew I wasn't going to be out there alone. I mean, when I had the kayaks out there by my side, when I was jumping off the boat with other people at the same time, it made it possible for me. I mean, what gives people, Terry, what gives them the opportunity to finally say, yes, I'm going to do this?
I think that, you know, most people that join the military have a warrior inside of them. And this is definitely a challenge that you can find that inner warrior. And that's true in my case, certainly.
just reconnecting it with something healthy.
And
right?
reconnecting with veterans. That's also the biggest.
But how about the community? Is the community also involved in these kind of challenges?
Actually, yes. Our coaches are the Natadoros Locos. They're some of the finest swimmers in the world. So we're really blessed to have free coaching, that they're donating their time. Like you said, the kayakers, they're top notch. Your safety is never in question.
So do you, so the Take the Rock, that the veterans Take the Rock, that event, is that combined with the larger event that occurs? Because I know I have a friend that does a Take the Rock event that's not a veteran. He just, so there's multiple events that go on that are like that. Okay.
Everybody wants to swim from Alcatraz and do triathlons. So it's speaking of community sport, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the Vietnam Vets of Diablo Valley, our main sponsor. And not only do they provide a lot of the swim caps, the insurance, but also the barbecue at the end, and they are there greeting us as we jump out of the water. So it is pretty cool.
Very neat.
So tonight's episode, we're talking about challenges, not only in the military, but as a veteran. We want to know if you are engaged in any type of challenge, if you have participated in something that has helped you move beyond your experience in the military. Call in, email, chat. We want to hear from your experience tonight. So Kevin and I were talking earlier, some of these opportunities as a challenge is not only I don't want to say it's self-serving, but the Run for the Fallen opens up an opportunity to challenge yourself, and to do so by remembering the fallen, those that have died since 9/11. That's an emotional challenge. I guess in a sense, it's kind of opening up an opportunity for someone to address maybe some feelings that they have from coming back from combat and their buddies that didn't make it back. Can you talk about that a little bit? Or do any of these guys find that challenge more than just physical?
Oh yeah, I mean the physical challenge is what people worry about at the beginning. And then by the end of it, they're worried about the emotional challenge, because you're running up to the next mile marker and you see the families and you're like, okay, I got to stay strong for them. And then, you try not to, to let it affect you as much and try to stay strong. And then you're running again and, you're going from mile to mile. We actually had a spouse who her husband was killed, and she ran with his flag. And so that was pretty emotional. But it's like you said, very self-rewarding, because, you go into it to try to help other people, and then you realize, wow, this is impacting my life in a significant way. So.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fantastic. What are the first steps that someone should take if they want to get ready for a swim or a run or any challenge out there? What's the first thing a person should do to set themselves up for a successful challenge? Join, reach out.
Join the website, join the meetup, check it out, check out the photo gallery, and reach out.
Yeah, in our case, just going to www.taketherock.com gives you all the info you need, all the frequently asked questions, a way to sign up to be part of the group to see about the coaching.
And then after they've done something, because Mike, you mentioned, I did this, but then it led to this and this and this. So once someone has done something like Run for the Fallen, how do they connect with other things out there? What did you do to then expand it beyond just swimming?
After I was able to swim the 1.25 miles from Alcatraz, I thought, you know what, maybe I can take on a half Ironman triathlon, and maybe I can push myself to the next level. And just like you were talking about dedicating yourself to serve others, honor others, that I pushed myself to the next level to honor my friends who passed away, and by being the best version of myself I can. And so each race I do now, I dedicate that to my fallen friends.
That's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the
show, and for sharing those challenges with us, and incentivizing others to do the same. There'll be information later on in the show which will help people to join up with what your causes are and look for their own causes.
What we have for you is a short trailer for a documentary created about Run for the Fallen. Even though the event is slightly different in other states, the mission is still the same. Enjoy, and we'll return in a few moments.
Freshman year at Hamilton, I lived with Mike Larry. Yeah, Mike and I hit it off pretty well. And pretty much from day one. He was definitely a Pennsylvania boy. always had a smile on his face. It happened junior year. All I heard from one of my roommates was just like, the World Trade Center has been hit. Oh. He signed up that week. It was an IED. Mike and another soldier were killed instantly. I just felt that something had to be done.
John has started a new organization called Run for the Fallen. They're going to run all the way across the country. They're going to end at Arlington on August 24th. And they're placing a flag and a biography of everyone who has fallen in this war.
So what you're looking at in front of us are 14 boxes, 288 flags per box, 4,034 flags right now. One's going to go every mile across the country. It's going to be tough, but the team is awesome. There's Aaron, Mike's fiance, Shannon Clary, Mike's sister. There's about 7 or 8 of us. That it's not about us. It's about the mile for the service member. It's about doing this for their families.
John?
Yes.
My name's Joe Landacre. I'm the father of fallen hero Lieutenant Jared Landacre.
Hey,
Morning.
nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
To Jared.
My boss, Captain Joel Cahill, was killed while I was on guard duty. It didn't really matter where y'all were going. I was going to do some running with you.
I think really the 4,000 miles is going to be the easy part. My son is number 3447. I was like, how's this guy doing it? I can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
We're all running.
I can't believe it.
I think Mikey will be very, very proud of all of us for doing this.
It's just a simple thing that people can do to feel like they're part of something that's very meaningful.
It's like 4,000 stories that need to be told. To them that's here, to them that's gone, to them we'll see again.
Welcome back to Veterans Voices, where tonight we are discussing upcoming veterans events and what they mean to the community. This next event is one that's particularly meaningful to Kevin, and we're also joined by Greg, who can give us some background about Veterans Day on the Delta. So welcome to the show, Greg.
Thanks for having me.
How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing awesome
Good
today.
to see you. It's been almost about a year since I saw you last. Well, no, I didn't
It's
see you.
been a
last
week.
day.
2 weeks.
Oh, well, make a liar out of me. That's right. So you were at the second Veterans Day on the Delta that we sponsored out in Discovery Bay. Tell us a little bit about the event, how you heard about it, and then how you got involved in it.
Correct. It's, I was actually going to Las Positas College, and we got some flyers up in the Veteran Center there, and I signed up, and then I showed up, and I was the only person there from Las Positas, and I felt very welcome. They had donuts and coffee, and all the boats were launching, and
did you find a good boat to go out on?
Big power boats, yes. The first year I rode on, it had the two 300 horsepower motors on it, and it was fast.
So Veterans Day on the Delta is an event that is put on by Some Gave All the Joy Graves Foundation, and because it kind of expanded our mission a little bit, because when I started to get involved with veterans, I realized that there was a need or a lack of some adrenaline that you guys had gotten when you were in combat and when you had done some of the things you had done in the military, such as jump out of airplanes. And so I had some good friends that had some very fast boats. And it was actually Joey's, my son's recruiter, who had gone out on a fast boat with a guy one day and said, you know, we should do this for veterans. And he goes, I know just the guy to call. So they called me, and between Sergeant David Bryant and myself, we put together a team of about, what was there, about 30 boats there the year you went?
Yes.
We were about 30, 35 power boats. And these are boats that have all the way up to, believe it or not, some of those boats are putting out about 2,000 horsepower.
Holy cow.
Yeah, just,
Wow.
Yeah.
And I mean, from the time that you leave the marina, the adrenaline rush starts, because you're convoying out in the no wake zone, and you're hearing every boat has over 500 horsepower.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's just the rumble. Well, you can. Some of the pictures are on screen now, but the rumble of these boats is unbelievable. And what's really,
I bet the neighbors appreciate it.
oh, they get used to it.
they were waving. They liked it too.
The really cool part about this is over 50% of the boat owners are veterans.
Oh, wow.
And so what they do is they give a lot of their own for this event, because they actually pay for the fuel. And they pay to get there. Some of them have to trailer their boats there.
Wow.
So they can cost them $1,000 for one day to run these boats because of the amount of fuel they consume. But they want to give back. And they feel that their time in the military gave them a leg up and gave them an opportunity to succeed in life. And they're blessed in the fact that they can afford to have these toys. And they want to share it with those of us that can't afford to have those toys. And therefore we get to benefit from their generosity.
Huge benefit.
And it's very meaningful for those guys that are veterans today to also be able to give back to the veterans of today. We had a group of homeless vets come down from Vacaville. Remember, transitional? They were in a transitional home at Mission Solano up in Vacaville.
Right.
Came down by van, and what an unbelievable experience it was for them to be able to be part of this event. And we go on about a. I hate to say it, but it was a 3-hour tour. But we actually come back as opposed to the minnow, who didn't make it back. But we come back to the marina afterwards, where we have a hosted barbecue, and we've had live music there before, and it's been a great event to give back to veterans.
Yeah, it's a big delta out there. You can go for quite a ways before you run out of water. Greg, you didn't say anything about your service. Tell us about your service in the military.
I was 4 years of the Marine Corps, 2008 to 2012. Was a scout observer, fire supporter, deployed with 3-5, get some.
Oh, okay.
And,
Dark Horse, right?
Yep. 3-5, and
where were you deployed to?
Went to Afghanistan.
Oh boy, talk about a place far away from the water. There's no delta up in Afghanistan, is there?
No. Chewed sand for 28 weeks, came back, and wouldn't do it again for $1 million. But you know, I definitely do not regret it at all.
And Greg's unique also in that he has come back and given back to veterans himself. It was a treat for us to be able to give to Greg and give him an opportunity to do some things. But he was at the time, because he was at Las Positas, very active in the Veteran Resource Center there, kind of the manager of the center, and has done a tremendous amount for other veterans at Las Positas College, which is the way those Veteran Resource Centers work. And many of our community colleges have those available for vets, and they stick together, they help each other through the rough times, and they tell each other about the fun times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So living it is all part of the benefit.
Usually it's talking about the worst times that are become the best times. So we're talking about being alive, right? And those of us are the ones that are still alive, right? And so what other than, in addition to Day on the Delta, what things have you found that connect you, like Las Positas College, with a sense of being alive and having gone through something as difficult as Afghanistan?
Oh, living-wise, I've really connected with a lot of my veteran buddies through veteran waterfowl hunting.
Oh, okay.
That's really fun too. That's a different kind of living than, you know, riding on a 100-mile-an-hour boat. But that's a good way to, you know, link with your buddies and get out there and have a good time.
Experience something, right?
Live a little bit.
Live a little bit, yeah.
Friday to Sunday, you shouldn't be at home. You shouldn't be cooped up unless that's your thing.
Do you appreciate it, you think, a little bit more because you've gone to a place like Afghanistan and, you know, have been in combat and come back alive? Do you think that you're able to see those opportunities as something that's a fortune?
I think so, definitely, Nathan. I mean, it's really nice going to these kind of events, and you have that connection. You don't necessarily have to talk about it, but everybody has that face, you know, like they know that, you know, you've been somewhere, you've done something. The camaraderie's there. It's like a invisible medium almost, which is a neat feeling to be around.
Yeah, I just remember from, a couple quick deployments, I just remember that the luxuries in life that we really don't realize we have, we miss them quickly. When even if you're in a place like 29 Palms for training at CAX for a couple of months, I don't even think they call it CAX anymore, but if you're just gone away from kind of the daily luxuries of life, all of a sudden they kind of pop out into your mind. And when you're going on the boat and you're going 100 miles per hour, does it make you think about Afghanistan and make you think about that adrenaline, or does it take you somewhere else and give you relief maybe? From...
it was more so relief. Last year when I went, it was right after my father died, and I got in the boat. It was probably about 2 weeks after.
Oh, wow.
And we went out on the water, and my boat was going a little bit faster. It had twin 900 horsepower motors in it, supercharged, and it was called Stray Cat. Stray Cat.
Yep.
Shout out. It was a fast boat. So we were waiting for everybody to, catch up.
Is this when you lost your sunglasses?
That was the year before.
Oh, the year before. Okay.
Don't turn your head when you're going fast on the water. Anyways, long story short, we've seen the sunlight come in through the clouds, and I felt good about where I was, and it was really refreshing to be out there. It was a great opportunity.
Well, that's great. And, that's the purpose. That's why we do this. That's why our foundation has gotten behind this event and been able to sponsor it, is because we want to give everybody an opportunity to enjoy some of the good things in life and just kind of live. There's been a sacrifices made by our veterans, and we feel that they should all have every opportunity we can give them to do special things. So we want to thank you for being involved, Greg. We want to thank you for being here tonight to talk about it. And we'll see you hopefully on September 10th for another trip out in the Delta.
Veterans Day.
I'll sign you up.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Thanks, Kevin. Speaking of events, Veterans Voices just had its first Viewer Appreciation Barbecue on August 6th. This barbecue was held in honor of our viewer advisory panel as a way to thank them for all the valuable feedback they provide after each new episode we produce. Here are some highlights from our yummy barbecue party. Nathan Johnson, and I first want to thank everyone for coming out here today. It's fantastic to have this barbecue here at the Vet Center. It's such a beautiful location. It's such a dynamic team with Veterans Voices, and they put a lot of heart and a lot of time into doing a live show every month. And really, it's your show. It's the Veterans Voice. It's the issues that affect veterans like me and like you, and we want to give that voice a fair and balanced perspective and a thorough perspective. We want to do more than what the media does in just highlighting 30-second clips of the topics that are most jarring, and such. So we want to talk about the good things and the bad things.
My name is Bruce Stam, and I'm a United States Marine. I served from 1974 to 1978. We have vets from all of the wars coming through our doors. And despite that, their courage wasn't so much on the field as after.
My name is Steve Burchick. Served in the Army during Vietnam, 2nd of the 18th with the 1st Infantry Division. And I like watching Veterans Voices. As a result of watching the show, I stopped by the Veterans Service Office in Martinez and got a veterans review or update, and to be honest, that was the first time in 45 years I'd gone anywhere near any kind of veterans assistance office, and it was great dealing with the crew there.
My name is Lucy Titus, and the reason why I'm watching the show is that it always gives me an idea just what is needed.
Zachariah Bass. I was United States Army from 2004 to 2009. I watch the show and I appreciate the show and volunteer my time working on the show because I believe in its mission of creating a platform that doesn't entirely exist of veterans talking about real issues that affect them, both on a family level and what happens to them when they come home and where do they go. I think that's a big struggle for many of us through the ages of what now. And this is a place to have that discussion in a very public way. And I think it's a unique opportunity.
If you'd like to be a part of our viewer advisory panel, go to our website and sign up at the top of the page. After each new episode, you'll be sent a short survey asking for your feedback and opinions. It only takes a few minutes of your time and offers us a lot in return. You know, I want to make sure I take a chance to thank Wiley Henry for his barbecue, his expertise in cooking at the Veteran Voices Barbecue. He did that out of his own kindness, and we appreciate that.
Bought all the food.
Bought all the food.
Yeah.
We'd like to now welcome Charles and Shelley, who will tell us more about the East Bay Stand Down. Welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you.
Charles, tell us a little bit about your service in the military.
I was in the Army. I was in the Army from 1980 to 1993. Spent some time in Panama. I was in 160th. I was in 501st. So,
quite a few years. Thank you. And Shelley, you're a veteran also. Tell us about your service.
I was in the Army during Vietnam, 74 to 76, one of the first women in the Army Corps of Engineers.
Wow. Incredible. Well, thank you both. So, East Bay Stand Down is a biennial event happening in September. It houses homeless veterans. Tell us a little bit about what happens at East Bay Stand Down.
You're where the rubber meets the road.
Well, East Bay Stand Down takes in about 450 vets is our goal, but we usually average between 400 to 450 in between. And what it is we try to make it a one-stop shop to where we can take them off the streets and provide the services they need, whether it's legal, court, or dental, medical. We provide all those services for them.
Comprehensive, then, relief from the streets, respite, leave well-fed, clothed.
True. Stand down comes from a term back in Shelley days. Excuse me. It's where they used to take the veterans from combat and take them for rest and relaxation, and they would call that stand down, to where they could take a moment to get cleaned up.
It's a military term.
Right, it's a military term. And so we basically doing the same thing, taking them off the streets for 4 days, getting them cleaned up, getting the services they need before they go back out and start that.
So all that doesn't happen, though, without thousands of individuals giving their sweat, their tears.
Yes.
I mean, sweat equity. I want to say blood, but I mean it's not exactly that kind of event. But I mean, a lot of work goes into this. And tonight we're talking about challenge, live, and give. And so this is an opportunity for someone to continue serving, for someone to give maybe if they didn't serve. And you're the volunteer coordinator, Shelley. So if someone wants to give, where might they start? How would they get into an event like Stand Down and get to work?
On eastbaystanddown.org, on the home page, there's one big here, H-E-R-E. Plug it, it'll take you to the volunteer registration area. You look for what you want to do. I have over total 3,000 positions to be filled.
Wow.
And you pick your day, you pick your time. Some of them are already filled up. So you just try and find something else, but there is something available every day.
And for as little or as much as you want to give.
Little
one
as
day,
much.
a half a day, a couple of hours, whatever works into your schedule.
Right.
There are slots available, and there are still slots available today, correct?
Yes, over 1,600 of them.
Okay, so this is a good time for us to ask for volunteers.
Absolutely.
And the interesting part is that it does give that opportunity for the community to give. It's a huge opportunity for the community to give to veterans, not just veterans giving to veterans. There is a lot of that too, but it's a great opportunity for the community to give to veterans.
But you mentioned, though, you know, you go to the website to find what you want to do. How does someone know what they want to do? I mean, what if they do real estate as a profession? How would they come in to Stand Down and find something that can relate to their skill set? Or is there something for everyone?
Well, it's something for everyone. It depends on, you know, what kind of time you have and what you actually want to give. Because sometimes just coming out and giving, you'll find that you get more than you expect anyway.
Yes.
So by coming out something you think you might be interested in, whether it's serving or if you want to take a challenge. Maybe you were in the military before and you were a squad leader or a sergeant. You can be a tent leader and come out and spend 4 days and help take the veterans to their services where they need to go.
Okay.
So you have those opportunities, you know.
And I think also the website, the way you've done such a great job in setting up the website, that even if you don't know what you want to do, the jobs are there listed and you can just choose. And you know what? A real estate agent can help somebody get to their doctor's appointment too. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be in your particular field of
you can step out of your step out of your comfort zone. Is that what it is?
What challenge are you looking for?
Yeah.
His group has the biggest challenges.
The tent leaders.
Tent leaders. That's
huge.
Huge, huge. I mean, they're there from Wednesday afternoon to Sunday afternoon,
Yeah, exactly.
24 hours a day.
And you guys provide some special training for that, though, too, also?
Yeah, we provide, training, but what we basically do is go over what the expectations are. Providing training, we really can't do, but what we do is we give them expectations on what they can expect to do, how to do it, but training, I wouldn't call it training because you can't train nobody for what they're getting ready to do. You know, because
But they don't need to be afraid of volunteering for that position because they have the support that they need and the information that is provided to them.
To me, it's the most rewarding position, and everybody have done it speak highly about what they get from it. They get more from it than what they give.
So I want to interrupt just for a second. We have Michael from San Francisco on the line. So Michael, are you with us?
Yeah, Nathan, hi.
Michael, thanks for joining the show. How can we help you?
Well, thank you. Actually, we were in touch earlier. You invited me to call in to tell your viewers about a research study that I'm working on.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah, real quickly, tell us about it.
Yeah, so my name's Dr. Michael Ballard. I'm a neuroscientist at UCSF and at the VA in Martinez, California. I'm interested in understanding how to improve memory in OEF, OIF vets who had a concussion. And based on prior research, we think that an FDA-approved medicine called tolcapone might be helpful, and so we're recruiting paid research volunteers. Study participants typically earn around $400 in addition to reimbursement for travel costs for completing a total of 3 study visits that take place at UC Berkeley. During the study visits, participants play computer games and then they get an fMRI of their brain. And so I thought the show, would be a great way to get the word out because we really need help recruiting more volunteers. And so I'll give our phone number, and then if anybody has questions or would like to participate, we just invite them to give us a call. So I can give that phone number now.
Absolutely, please.
Thank you. It's 510-985-3522. And so, I'd be happy to answer any questions either now or when people call in. So I can give that number again. We can also refer to our posted flyer at Contra Vet Center and others in the Bay Area. So again, to learn more about our paid research study, please call us at 510-985-3522, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, thank you, Michael, for joining us. We had talked about this earlier because we felt that veterans weren't going to be a part of this study for the money. The money is nice. It refunds you for the cost of your fuel, maybe. But maybe veterans would want to be a part of this study so they could give back and help out their other fellow veterans who had experienced some type of traumatic brain injury or some type of combat stress and such. So thank you for joining us, Michael.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head because that's exactly right, is that all of our volunteers, they really honestly don't do it for the money. They all want to do it because they want to give back and because they think, that just by participating they can help other people like them, other veterans and civilians as well. So.
Well, I want to thank you for that, Michael. And if you, I'll get your contact information from Nathan. I can also help you out to help you get the word out through our listserv through CalVet. So we'll be doing what we can to help your study, and I thank you very much for calling.
Great, thank you, and thank you so much for your time and for doing what you do. The show's been great. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
We just have about 2 minutes left, but we have a chat question here. So I think this is for you, Shelley, and you, Charles. And so where do you each think the best spots to volunteer are? I think they're probably referring in stand down. Where's a good spot to get to work?
Depends how much you want to give. I mean, if you want to put in a lot, then, It's something, tent leader, if you just want to help serve, to do your part, you can serve in the chow hall, or you can volunteer. We have legal services that need volunteers. You can volunteer for legal. You can volunteer to assist with dental. So to me, the best place to get the most from it would be the tent leader corps, but then that would be biased because I'm the tent leader coordinator.
I think that's true.
So yes, but that's where I would say the best.
We also need 50, 60, no, more than that, like 150 people before stand down even begins to help set up the encampment.
Right.
We don't have, we do not have nearly enough people to set up the encampment.
Big job.
To do the power layout because we have to.
Wednesday, is that right?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Wow.
Yeah, so starting on Monday.
So real quickly here, so someone's going to give their own time. They're going to spend their own fuel. They may sacrifice time with their family or vacation time from work. But what can someone who's given to stand down expect to walk away with?
Full heart.
Full heart?
Full heart.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think also a feeling of accomplishment maybe too. Do you think you can look at stand down, like if you're the encampment?
It's a good exhaustion.
Right.
If you're there all day.
You can expect to walk away dirty and tired.
Dirty and tired, but feeling like you made a difference. And I think we want to make a difference.
Right. Most people that have given the stand down, most of them come back.
Yeah.
Because of what they got out of it.
A part of something new.
Right, but just what they get from it, they have to come and do it again.
Shelley and Charles, thank you so much for your service. Yes. Thank you for being on the show tonight. We've been doing a segment on our show called A Veteran's Voice, which has been getting a lot of great feedback from our viewers, from you. Thank you. The topics discussed have really resonated with many of our veteran viewers, but tonight's topic is one that everyone can relate to: food. Veteran and chef Wiley Henry demonstrates for us some of his favorite dishes, as well as shares why he loves to cook. We'll be back after A Veteran's Voice.
Hi, my name is Chef Wiley, and today we're going to be doing the classic banana sauce or New Orleans style. This is quick, so you have to watch. Pay attention. First thing I do is put a little bit of clarified butter in here. Like I say, this moves pretty quick, and if you watch, I remove all the calories as I go. Not a lot of chefs don't do that. I do. We're putting brown sugar in. This is the basis for the sauce. And all I'm doing right now is waiting for the butter to finish melting and to blend in with the brown sugar. This is going to be the sauce that goes on top of the bananas with the ice cream. Now we're going to put a little triple sec in here. This is an orange liqueur. You could use, if you don't want to use a liquor, you can use squeezings from an orange. I have chef's fingers, so my fingers don't burn. Don't try this at home. Now all we're doing is sauteing the bananas. And see, I'm lifting the pan up just to control my heat. That way I don't have to keep playing with the heat. Now, this is the tricky part. I don't advise doing this at home. This is how I get the calories out. And you can't do bananas any easier in this way. And like I say, it's really good. Now the finishing touch, a little bit of cinnamon. And we're done. Now I'm sure everybody can do that. And the next part is getting the ice cream out. Sometimes that's harder than the cooking. And then the trick is always make your plates look good. Now, and that is all it is to bananas Foster. And then one thing that I like to do is the final sprinkle of cinnamon on the brown or on the sugar. I mean, on the ice cream. We'll get it yet. Anyhow, bon appetit. Now we're going to do restaurant style steak Diane the easy way. Pay attention because this is quick. Easy to do in the home and you don't make a mess. That's why I always try to wear white. So I prove that I don't get things dirty. Now, some choice filet mignon to go in there. Get those juices coming out of it. And a little bit of garlic, of course. Keeps the blood pressure down. And then what really adds a lot of flavor to this is I do shallots rather than onions. And the shallot gives it a real bold flavor. Now we're almost done, believe it or not. Make sure I get all the sides covered and seared. Now I have some roux here that I made this morning. Roux is used to tighten up the sauce if you want to, and it's not necessary, but you can. And all it does is it's flour and butter, and I use clarified butter in doing this. What this does is makes the sauce a little thicker. A little sprinkle of salt. Okay, we're going to flip it one more time. Okay. And now, the danger part. I haven't set anything on fire for a while. I'm a member of the fire department too. And this is how we're removing all the calories out of this. Now flip it one more time and it'll be done. Okay, and that's simple steak Diane.
Hi, Nathan here, and I'm joined with Wiley Henry, a Vietnam veteran who just gave a fantastic cooking demonstration. And I know you didn't get a chance to try out the food, but we did. And it was phenomenal. And it still smells great in here. And Wiley, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For giving that demonstration. Tell us a little bit about your military service.
Well, of course, I made it in time to get over to Vietnam. And I was there actually 2 months longer than my actual tour. I didn't think I was ever going to get out alive, but I did. And we lived on sea rats. Most of the time we were over there. Very seldom did we get to a mess, because where we were up around Contra and Quezon, we were basically in the boonies. No villages, nothing. And the greatest thing you could have in your squad was a bottle of Tabasco sauce or an onion. I mean, worth money.
I remember those.
And my sister was an Air Force nurse, and she made me a hero one day. She sent me a whole case of ketchup packages. Everybody wanted some. Of course, you have to share it. It's like when you get cookies from home. But one of the things I used to do with the sea rats, I was a non-smoker. I used to save all my cigarettes, which came in as sea rats. And when we were out on long patrols and the smokers would run out of cigarettes, I could trade my cigarettes for all the good stuff in the sea rats, like peaches and beans and stuff that we do like. But anyhow, one of the things my foxhole buddy got to know me for, I used to save all my chocolate powder and all my sugar, because I didn't drink coffee either. And I would save it up, and peanut butter. And the peanut butter, like I said, you're talking stale peanut butter. And it's like not really good to eat, and you couldn't really spread it. That's how hard it was. So one day he says, "What are you doing with all this?" I said, "Well, watch." And I got my canteen out of my canteen cup out of my canteen, and I started cooking up the brown, or the cinnamon, brown, yeah, I missed cinnamon, sugar, and all the chocolate I put in there. And then I added a little bit of water with the peanut butter so I could get the peanut butter soft again. And I made sea-rad fudge. And I still get letters from some of the guys, are you making any sea-rad fudge this year? But I can't find, I can't find those sea-rads anymore. Not that I want to.
Now, I remember guys doing the same thing with MREs, which is kind of the current version of a sea-rat. So that was the beginnings of your cooking career. And how has your career developed? What are you doing today for cooking?
Well, I spent 30 years in the restaurant business. I was very blessed. I got to work in some very well-known restaurants, some very big restaurants on the East Coast. I ended up coming out here and buying another restaurant in San Francisco and then a bar in El Sobrante. But I found out I had a talent for it. And when I first went home from Vietnam, I was an insurance agent and very good money, but I didn't like doing it. So I took over an American Legion post and they had a dilapidated kitchen post. I said, how come nobody's using it? And this is all with the vets. And I said, well, anyhow, let's open up the kitchen. I got the kitchen gun, make a long story short. 2 years into the project, we raised $60,000 to build us a brand new post. Wow. And then I found out, well, you know, I'm a pretty good cook. Now, yeah. I grew up hunting, fishing. We ate a lot of venison and stuff, and trout. And we trapped during the winter. But my dad, when we went camping, he used to cook with beer. Now I cook with alcohol, but that's all for flavor, not for drinking. And anyhow, and then my incentive, because I've met so many vets and stuff, and I went to work at Fort Monroe, which is the oldest resort on the East Coast, Chamberlain Hotel, out where the Monitor and Merrimack had their battle right outside where I lived on the 7th floor. And anyhow, I got to work with the Navy, and what was really funny with the Navy being a former Marine, I was wearing a captain's uniform. I was part of our dress there. But I kept expanding what I was doing. I did a couple TV shows in Virginia. I started originally in the Poconos, but I've been in the paper so many times, I can't tell you how many times on TV and
So
all the articles.
You're pretty much famous then. We've got a famous chef right here on Veterans Voices. So what does cooking mean to you? What, as a Vietnam veteran, and you're combat wounded, you have your Purple Heart there on your shirt, which looks really nice. How has cooking benefited you as a veteran?
I make a living and I like doing it. It's a lot of fun, and I get to meet a lot of good people. And like I say, and I have a good work attitude too. I like working. I retired 2 years ago, and I'm actually working more hours now than I did when I was working.
So it keeps you gainfully employed, and it keeps you connected to other people. So do you connect with other chefs, or do you just connect with the people that enjoy your food?
I've cooked with Chef Tao, Yan Can Cook. I've done a lot of different things. Not only do I do the flambe arts, I do ice sculpting too. And again, everything I tried, I found out, well, I can do this. It's amazing what you can do. It's like in Marine Corps, we had a model. We learned to do, we never had anything, being a poor branch, so to speak, for money. We learned to do anything with nothing, and that was the idea. Well, I found out I could cook, and I have a good taste for it, and I have good visual looks. And I'm a firm believer in making the dish look good for you, too.
So we just have a minute left, and what would you say to a young veteran, or maybe a veteran who's been out for several years, who thinks that they might want to give cooking a try? What would you tell them?
It's a good career, and it's a lot of fun. And it's like I get to party every night, technically, because I'm out in the restaurant every night, or doing whatever I'm doing, and I'm still cooking 4, 5, 6 days a week at times. And now with my barbecue, I've got a huge barbecue, a man's barbecue. It's a 2,000-pound barbecue. And I get to meet a lot of veterans there too. And I've got the Marine Corps seal on my big barbecue too. It looks like a train, you can't miss it. It's called the barbecue train. But I've encouraged a lot of veterans to get into the restaurant business. 30 years in, and I used to teach restaurants.
Fantastic. So you can we can try your food out in Pinole, California.
Yeah,
at where?
Chuck's Corner.
Chuck's Corner in Pinole, California. Wiley, thank you so much for the cooking demonstration today. The food tastes excellent. Thank you for your service. And we'll be back with more Veterans Voices.
Okay.
So we have a question apparently from Gus from San Pablo, and Gus wants to know, do you have to be a good swimmer to do the Take the Rock Alcatraz swim, or can people like Nathan do it too? The answer is yes.
People like with floaties can do it too.
We're still actively looking for participants of A Veteran's Voice. So if you'd like to come on the show and share your thoughts, call or email our producers with your information. And in November, we will have a show entirely dedicated to your questions, your concerns, what's going on in your life. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? In November, we want you to call in. We'll have a panel of experts that will be able to answer your questions and help you with whatever it is you need help. This will be our Viewer's Choice episode, and the content will be completely based on what's important to you. We will have a panel. All we need is your call. So contact us now and share your story or questions for November's Viewer Choice episode.
Tonight's episode highlighted a few upcoming veterans events. Greg was on the show tonight representing Veterans Day on the Delta, which will be on September 10th. It kicks off at 8:30 a.m. at the Discovery Bay Marina. And for more information, you can go to somegayall.us. On September 12th, the Veterans Memorial Building of San Ramon will be having a great Italian dinner at Gianni's Italian Bistro to support the Memorial Building's operating committee. For great food and conversation, RSVP to Gianni's or go to opentable.com. East Bay Stand Down will take place on September 15th through the 18th this year at the Alameda County Fairgrounds. Go to eastbaystandown.org for more information. Please go there and sign up. There are still positions available for volunteers. California Run for the Fallen will be on September 23rd through the 25th. The final ceremonies are at the Sacramento Valley National Cemetery in Dixon. Go to carunforthefallen.org for more information. Take the Rock will be happening on September 25th in the San Francisco Bay. Go to taketherock.com for information on this upcoming event. And finally, we will be having the 10th annual Joey Gray's Memorial Golf Tournament, I should know this, on September 19th in Discovery Bay. We're still looking for golfers. If you're interested, please go to somegayall.us. We'd love to have you out there where we will be honoring many of our fallen and to perpetuate the memory of those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice.
And I want to remind our viewers to please start thinking about your questions and discussion topics for our expert panel in November. The content of that show will be completely determined by you. So we'd love to start getting your feedback in for this special episode. Thank you to all our guests tonight, and thanks to the production crew. They worked very, very hard. This is Veteran Voices of Contra Costa, wishing you all a good evening, and thank you for serving.